Okay, we'll
Public
fix
Works
it.
and Utility Committee's meeting. Attendance has been taken. We've already had the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm not seeing any comments from citizens.
I had an email from a Margie Finley saying that she'd like to have a sidewalk along Lakeview all the way from Jackson to the end of Lakeview to the east. I haven't responded to that. We just completed Booth, which would be on 2 blocks north of that. I mean, it goes from Jefferson all the way to the swimming pool. And we can't, in my opinion, we just can't afford to build sidewalks every place.
Correct.
That is a correct statement.
Yeah, correct.
Especially when we
we've
reject
got
the
it in
lumber
our
sales.
people,
Right.
I mean, people use it, we value it. We can't put 3 times that.
Yeah, because we, matter of fact, we still have to finish. Booth Street.
Most of it, gotta be finished.
That's not even, that project hasn't even been completed.
We're probably
so.
not even half done with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Still some tree work to be done.
Yeah, there's still a few trees that I think are on that list that to come out, and then we've got to go basically from the park almost all the way to Jefferson. A few sections in there we'll keep that are good.
Okay.
Definitely, I mean, we can put it on a
I think it's
future, future deal.
You to where now? She wanted Lakeview from where?
Along Lakeview, from Jefferson all the way to the Lakeview, end of Lakeview to the east.
all the way to the final street.
Is there any sidewalks
I
at all
know.
in that stretch?
There's no sidewalks at all?
There's
To a
just
certain point.
There's just a little bit to
Right there by
West
Jefferson
side.
Street?
Porter Street.
On the south side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's-
and all of that, most of that needs to come out.
Well, and isn't that where the lady was hit
Long stretch.
Yeah.
in the last
Yes,
couple of
she has
years?
that.
On down the road, yeah, absolutely. She got hit hard at all, absolutely.
No, it was on
There's
the,
land down at Lakeview.
Yeah,
and
don't
Orchard.
like you down that way, you know, down
It
there.
it was close to Orchard intersection.
So I mean, it's probably an area that needs it, being that people drive quite fast. down that
Yeah,
road.
and a lot of school kids walk that way,
Absolutely.
summertime parks that way. I mean, it definitely is needed.
Most of what we've concentrated on is trying to go like downtown to schools and the parks and stuff. That's been our main focus.
It
over
would
the years.
probably be one that would make sense because of school traffic, kid traffic, that kind of thing, that road would be one we would definitely consider. So I think it would be one that if we're prioritizing, that may be one that we definitely look at. You do it in sections if nothing else, that we can afford to, but I think that might be the response. That, you know, we want to make sure we upgrade and update all of our sidewalks, right? For people to be able to get out and walk that are elderly or whatever, they may only be able to go 2 blocks and they're at that house there. So we want to try to do that, but we can't. When things get to a certain point, you got a lot of catching up to do sometimes, and we're kind of there with sidewalks. They're just kind of a mess and some trash. And I think
Sounds
that,
like the answer is we'll add it to the list
and it's probably a
we don't
priority
have so much
street.
money.
Yeah, probably a priority street, but it's a long way down the end of that thing.
Yeah, okay.
So you're right. I mean, I think everybody's right and won't worry about it, but,
So we're running out of diesel fuel, we can't make concrete.
Any other comments from citizens for Public Works and Utilities?
had tons of people, talking about, I've heard tons of people come to me and to us in general, I think probably about the street work that got done and how it got handled and everything that got done on that is continuing. A lot of people have the striping's on, people are excited. I think there's striping on the street now, so, you know, good job over on the, corner over there off of Booth and, Howard Burton.
It lasted not even a week and they were in the yard again.
Well, I'm sure they'll be on that guy's front door for
Yeah.
it, so it makes it better. So that's all I had, had some comments about that.
Any other comments?
Rough crowd out there,
We'll
right?
move on. So is someone here for filling in for Mr. Fadley? So the activity report's in the packet. Anything you want to point out for the month?
Not really. Did do that hole behind the bank that's been needing to be done for a long time now. They were closed, so we did it the other day. Still working out at North Point, setting ground sleeves and blowing string and stuff like that, and should be setting transformers within next week or two.
Nice.
Other than that,
Okay. Do we have anything for generation, distribution?
We are waiting for the contract from, our transformer provider that will hopefully be in very soon. It was supposed to be in November. We're at the middle of November, so hopefully we'll see it soon. But as soon as we get it in, I'm gonna get it to you guys so we can get it approved and back into them. So we can secure our transformers for 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, we missed out on 23, so.
So just from what I know in the electrical industry, a lot of hardening going on, a lot of hardening going on and a lot of upgrades going on around the country. So anything electrical wise, we need to find a way to lock in our supply for an extended period of time, any way we can, because we're being told next 5 to 10 years is gonna be like this. So the big upgrades we need to figure out what we're gonna do to get that financed and get it on order, because it may be a year and a half, 2 years out.
Yeah, the transformers we just got in have been on order for over a year.
Yeah, that is actually very normal in the electrical industry right now. Okay, anything else electrical?
One thing, I was with Earl, and we were looking over the parks and everything. He's got a lot of poles marked that are bad in the parks and around the pool and everything. So we may want to make sure that we might want to take it back and have a follow-up discussion on how many poles we have and how many, I think he said there was 19 he had marked through the parks and around, and he put an X on and he was showing me. So I know poles has been a challenging problem and costly, and so if we're gonna have a bunch that we gotta catch up.
Who marked the poles? Earl?
I think Earl did. Really.
I think maybe we can look into that and see.
Yeah.
I didn't
Now,
know
there
Earl
some-
was
there
in
was
that
some-
business, so
well,
that's more of what I was.
But my point is, he's thinking, there were several that looked absolutely old.
Well, we did have one go down in the storm.
So just wanna make sure that we're communicating well between those two departments and the city to know what,
I've seen Earl's tree marking
to
business.
know more.
Austin, don't we have a lot of excess poles that we ordered because there's a change coming?
I mean, we got a decent amount that we have to use up in the next 2 years, but we were trying to use those for city, like main city
Infrastructure.
poles and.
Yeah, we bought
We-
a truckload, I thought.
I was gonna say, we have enough that we probably could, I mean, I don't know about 20 poles, but, I mean, we could probably fix a lot of the, I'm sure there's probably at least 10 that need to be replaced, so.
But just for our benefit, that our business partners in the city are over there at the park, have some stuff going on, so.
I mean, is any of those poles that are bad, could the electrical go in underground and get rid of the pole completely?
Those are questions that they would have to answer for me. I
Well, that'd
mean,
be
I don't know
something to
much
ask.
what, but that's probably something that needs to be looked at.
Can't get
We can't
transformers
get
and put it
transformers.
underground.
Right.
You can't what?
Get a transformer.
Cannot
to
get
hook through.
transformers, pad mount transformers right now. We're just talking about that, the contract that she's talking about, when we sign that, that's for 2024. That means 2023,
Really?
yeah.
So anything with an insulator right now expected to be
Right.
over a year. If you don't need an insulator, probably get in about half that time.
So do we have transformers for North Point?
Mhm.
We will have, I think he said we'll have 5 left.
We have some spares.
5 left after that?
We gotta be.
To cover it, something happens in town.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, I mean, because that's
So
what
there's
we were,
literally nothing for like Mystic or anything.
they were really looking forward to doing a lot of underground and continuing that, but now we're gonna kind of have to ease off that. We don't want to burn those up. We're gonna have to keep some emergency stock, so.
Sure.
Have we made an order for 2025?
Gotta probably-
can't yet.
Yeah, I gotta get this contract in first.
But you need money, don't you?
Yeah.
A lot of places are putting on allotments as well. They got lots of customers to service, so they put allotments out, how far you can order out, and quantities and so forth like that, because you don't have just one customer, you have many customers, right? Robert?
Okay. We ready to move on to Public Works? Okay, street activity reports in the packet, Mr. Hoffman?
Oh, started out the month working with Christensen, keep Jefferson blocked off so they can get that all paved and over by the railroad tracks, read that little intersection milled and paved out, and we spent a couple of days laying out and painting all the parking lines on Wilson and Jefferson and crosswalks and everything where it got painted, or paved, got everything repainted. Driveways and everything re-rocked, so that was kind of the start of our month. Did a little drainage work, had some storm sewer repair, replaced the driveway culverts, and just drainage work in general with some of the rains. Worked with the contractor, tear out the driveway and sidewalk, and approached down here on Rollins, the Catholic Church, so they could get that all redone. We tore it out, but we didn't pay for any of the concrete since the sidewalk was out, but we went ahead and took it all out for them. Hauling lots of brush and leaves here lately. It's about a weekly thing here almost. Little sign work and do some tree trimming. Just been trying to get much caught up done before it gets cold. And it's here.
Yeah.
Do you wanna talk about the Jefferson Street project?
Oh, the storm sewer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got locates in, Matt and I have talked with the homeowner down there, we've done some preliminary sawing and demo work, and we've got the pipe on hand and to do the whole east side, from where it stopped at the edge of, Emerald, where they stopped there at the property line to get it all the way down to the main ditch heading east, so we're gonna try to work on that through the winter as weather and everything permits us, so.
Nice.
And dirt,
Yeah, so we're,
there's a good news on dirt.
we're in the works to possibly, gather some dirt from Jim Butler out here. They're getting ready to extend their parking lot. I just happened to have a conversation with that contractor that's doing that, and they are looking to get rid of dirt. So I told him that, that may be something that we can help them with, get some trucks out there and unload that, and take it to our stockpile, because it's gonna be a huge cost saving for not only the east side, but if we have to look at, the west side next year during the summer, we're gonna have to be able to have that dirt on hand and not have to purchase it. I don't know if you got dirt right now, 300 a truckload, you think?
Probably.
So,
Yeah, so
there's
it's
a
a lot.
good amount of dirt out there, so it would save us a lot of money.
Savings for them for not having to haul it away.
Correct.
Savings.
Works.
Correct.
You might,
Because,
You might go talk to Bruce at Hull about dirt, because when they do that project,
Yeah,
they're gonna have to strip a bunch of dirt off
bunch
there.
of dirt, yep. And I actually had the engineer for the, school
We actually
email me
got some
today.
dirt from them when they did the warehouse the
We
first
got
time.
places to pile it, don't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
if we got time and people, we can haul it. So we might be in good shape with dirt. We were kind of nervous about that, trying to find it, but things are kind of
Well,
coming
that was a
together.
big thing we were figuring on cost to get the east and the west side of the street done, was the dirt was going up so dramatically. It's gonna take quite a bit of it, so that's a plus. Good.
Good. Anything else?
Nope. Got everything geared up just in case it snows tonight, so.
So, moving on to water and sewer. Anything you'd like to point out for us?
We finished up at North Point last month and started flushing the hydrants out there to get it put in service. Continued putting in the new registers and transmitters. And from last month to this month, our monthly rereads were up to 220 that we were having to go get every month. We've got all of those put in, so this month it should be knocked down substantially. We should only have a handful of reads to go get this month, which that entails 2 guys a full day going and getting rereads, because the Orions that we have in the ground are,
Those are the old ones, right?
yeah, they're the old ones. They're losing everything on them, so we were having to get more and more manual reads. And as they go out, we're trying to replace them so that we don't have those.
What
rereads.
percentage of them do you have left, you think, of
we-
first new versus Oh,
We've only put 10% of the new ones in,
okay. I was just curious, I didn't know where was that in the process.
and we've only got about 50% of them in so far. We're still waiting on the rest of them to show up.
It was a multi-year project, wasn't it, that we were replacing them all?
Yeah, yeah, and right now, we're just doing residential, and then we had talked, with some ARPA funding for the bigger meters, for like your 4-inch, 2-inch, commercial size, so we don't have those ordered yet, we're just trying to phase these in and then kinda see where we're at, then we can make that call. But it's gonna be huge, and we're seeing a lot of good stuff out of these already, so that's promising. So,
We're still continuing on the sewer project.
Do we have any updates on our wonderful projects?
Tara and I took a drive today, so the city basins are really, really close. I got an email from Bartlett, last Thursday, the email exchange from them to DNR to let them know with the Excel sheets and the records of the barrel testing, everything looks good, as far as the engineering side, but obviously nothing's true till DNR okays it. Bartlett does not see any reason why they would not. So that's promising. And he is about complete with, other than some real cleanup stuff. They've got a little bit of valve work to do down in the telescoping valve pit. Other than that, he is really close and is, I think, wanting to maybe do a meeting next Monday. He wants to be here, so.
Do you think he's close with all the extra work that's supposed to be done around there?
Yeah, no,
What
he's
about the
he's-
seating?
days. So the seeding, so
That's a
the
concern.
the grass and the seed that he put down, it's actually coming up way better than I thought. Somehow,
Not
some way.
as good as it needs to.
It's not
Lord, is that a-
not to our
It'll
spec.
come up and it'll be better.
Right. I mean, for what I thought it was going to look like, it's way better. So
Well, you didn't think we were gonna get in it.
no, I didn't,
So
and
what's way better?
it's surpassed that. So Bartlett suggested to him, and we have to come to a number of how much we want to retain for seating itself. Bartlett has suggested around 10,000. That will basically give us 2 more applications of what he put down already, and then some change for the back end if something has to be disked or tilled or something like that. So nothing's been hard set on that, but he is,
But don't you believe that pre-work's gonna have to happen for you to get this?
there's gonna be spots
Spots
where it's,
of it.
yeah, you're gonna have to work the dirt up. It's just, especially after the winter, snow, I mean, it's gonna need some help.
Gotcha.
But he never did do the topsoil, correct?
No.
I just think I don't think you're ever gonna get standard grass.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement, but I don't know how they judge what is a good stand. That's where it's
What,
gonna fall, as Bartlett's saying.
Does it say in his contract he's gotta have so much black dirt on top of it?
I don't think it gives,
Like 3 inches?
I don't think it gives an amount. I
Doesn't give
think
a
it
specific.
gives you kind of the dirt's gotta be disturbed. It's gotta have certain feed rates on your seeding, your fertilizer, your amounts. And then it just says a substantial, amount of growth and
So-
coverage.
But when I went and looked at it, it looked like none of that had been done. You know, disturbing of the ground.
No,
So,
no.
I mean, before we tell him we want $10,000 set back, we need to make sure all that's been done before, we do that.
Well, that's why we're holding the $10,000 back, just so if it
You're
does.
saying more?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more. I think we're gonna
Oh,
hold
gotcha.
more than that back. Or make him do it and then hold, he should be up to the contract, what he's supposed to do first. If he was supposed to go in there and disc it up or disturb the ground, And that should have been done.
And he did in portions of the areas, but not complete site. So, which he was disking today, or it wasn't when we were out there, but he had the tractor warming up because of where they've been running, equipment to the other end to do the gravity feed line and the telescoping valve pit. That's been trashed now with, ruts and stuff, so he's gotta rework that area. They've got the MoDOT map down, they put some, straw checks in the ditch today.
When he sees it, does he mulch it?
No.
No, the seed just laying on the dirt.
Yeah, it was blowing around.
How do you get it on clay?
It is on clay.
The birds were,
It's just been raining enough to help him out.
Live yard, that would be grass, my backyard.
I mean,
It's
you
good
saw,
seed.
you saw the seed, it is way better than what I was. So, we'll just,
It's almost miraculous.
yeah,
You're gonna have to get a great grass scale for us.
okay, I'll look
I mean,
into that and
because
see
he
what
was
I.
supposed to straw it too, right?
That's, yes, that's what it says in the specs, and I talked to Bartlett
So
about the
we need to
specs, but I
figure-
can't get an answer out of them of who's checking off on it, so.
Is Bartlett gonna be here next Monday?
Uh-huh.
Do we have an idea of what they want?
You gonna bring your lawnmower?
next week? Or are they gonna-
The contractor,
Yeah.
I think he's hoping to have it paid that bid.
How much?
I wouldn't be surprised if he don't walk out of here mad.
He can get a big round bale blower.
How much?
Yeah, that's what he was supposed to do.
He'd do it pretty quick.
Do you have an idea of what the liquidated damages are? What's remaining on the contract and what's the liquidated damages?
It was, I think 100.
40.
I would say, do we wanna,
It was 140. Yeah, I don't think, I think the retainage,
there's a lot,
yeah,
a lot. And we've also had to, we've paid for some products ourselves, so that way, because they couldn't get
They
it.
got paid.
the late fees have been calculated,
Yeah.
been managed for being late.
Yeah.
So that penalty phase has been in effect from $500 days to the $1,000
Yeah.
days. And every day is another day of that.
August.
So that's all being accumulated and accrued for what he gets paid or they don't, at the balance of what's owed to him, as well as his retained we would take from any of the grass,
Yeah,
the
so-
seeds,
so-
I don't call it grass because it's not grass yet, but, the seeding and all that kind of stuff,
So
so.
we've got some seeding, retainage, some product retainage, and then, liquidated. We've got all that calculated and Tara's keeping track of all that, so.
We're a lot better than we were 6 months ago.
We're close,
We've
I'm
come
telling you.
a long ways
We're
in 6
close.
months,
Yeah.
what we thought.
At this point, I'm glad we have two basins that are barrel tested.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Because there were times I was worried to death we didn't even get to that point, so.
Yeah.
Not
Well-
that doesn't mean that we turn our back on what the expectation was, but there are a lot of factors of people that own that, other than us. And they'll both be here next week.
It would be nice to have a summary of all the expenses and
Okay. I
what
can
the
get that to you.
fees are and everything in our hands, whether it's part of the official meeting packet or not. It would be nice to
Yeah.
have that before.
That total-
before
We don't,
Monday.
we don't be
Itemized
careful,
out.
something not relying on Bartlett West.
Oh,
Itemized
yeah,
out.
I've got that.
Yeah, we quit doing that.
Yeah,
We
just,
walked
you know,
3 months ago.
how much did we buy equipment because they couldn't?
Oh, yeah, we got
Yeah,
that.
we've got all that documented and everything, so we can get that.
That'd be
together.
pretty easy. That's an easy thing to do at this point.
It'd be good to have those numbers
Yeah.
before we sit down Monday in the next meeting. So how about our other wonderful project? How's the slate curve?
yeah. It's still around 120, 125, the heaters. Unless Jay's got them back to working, they were not working last I knew. I've just kind of been letting Jay take care of it.
And
We are cleaning it ourselves now. Martin called and talked to Matt, and we came to the conclusion that we instead of them sending the guy down here twice a week.
And we're keeping our eyes on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, in case, where are we at on the mediation part of it? Have we heard back from?
I have not heard that.
Okay, well, I'll help us get some answers on that tomorrow. We'll get it moving pretty hard.
Yeah, I think, 2, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks, it threw another error.
Yeah, one of the there's little flow meters on the side of the water that goes into the chambers to where the water gets heated. One of them threw an error, called and talked to Martin, they got a hold of Velodyne. While I was waiting for Velodyne to get a hold of us, we just killed the whole slaker, the fire, everything for about 5 or 10 minutes, and it ended up resetting itself, and it hasn't come back on since. And I don't remember which guy I talked to, but he had no clue what the error was or why it threw it. Possibly that it was dirty inside of there.
With the company,
Yeah.
is that the guy that sent the first time that didn't know anything about them?
I think I might have.
I mean, that's just something that we're gonna have to be prepared to talk to citizens about, that if this thing goes down.
It was John with Velodyne.
Okay. The service and where we're at, I think with the legality stuff, we're not gonna get service from.
No, that's why.
I mean, so if that day comes where this thing goes down, there's no, well, give us a week so we can get it back up. This thing's gonna be down till this thing's resolved.
So,
All right.
at one point, I thought I had heard that the other brand of equipment had one sitting on a shelf somewhere. Do we
Yeah.
know if that's true, and how much that is?
So, don't have any, amount, because I was talking to Bartlett about that. We have to be careful. So what that other company had asked was, they have a unit that would be a little smaller. So it was 150 pounds per minute, or per hour, which is not what was spec'd. Because this company didn't have that available that we went with. So if we were to order something that is not what we spec'd, where does that get us, I mean, depending on where this thing falls.
Well,
But this is too large for what was spec though, correctly? The one that we have?
This one wasn't spec right either.
No.
So in the specs itself, it states, our old Kimco Slaker was a 250 pound per hour Slaker.
Okay.
That is what, and it was just bottled down to where it was barely running. Which is kind of what they did with this one. It's a 250 pound per hour Slaker. They've tried to choke it down and it won't work. It just doesn't have the capability, doesn't have the technology. So if the other company has a small one, we're never gonna feed 150 pounds per hour. Never.
That's still too high?
That's still too high.
We're feeding 42 or
Yeah.
43 pounds an hour right now.
If we fed that much lime, we would burn through it, which it's gone up way,
It's
double.
almost double.
And secondly, your water, it would be so salt and slimy, it would just be.
Weren't we operating with the other one at about 48 to 52, somewhere there?
Yeah, I'd say mid-40s, on it.
Yeah.
So, this one in the plans, it gave us a spec sheet of, it was supposed to go down to a minimum of 12. Whoever missed that, whoever didn't give them that information, I have no idea, but it did say it in the plan, so. But I just don't know how to go about if you're gonna order a Slaker that isn't the same size as what was spec'd for the project. It probably would be the best for our application, just a matter of,
Well, once we get the mediation done and we're
Then we can do
released,
our own.
we'll do whatever it takes to
Right.
put what we need in.
They
there.
can change that.
It can be changed
Yeah,
at that
they can
point.
amend that.
Because it'll be a signed agreement of, basically dissolution of the marriage between us and that contractor, so.
yeah.
I'll help in the morning with that, we'll get with the third party legal bunch, and this needs to be driven to some closure, of some sort. We need to get mediation. If not, I guess we need to have a court date.
I do know that DNR, so we've still gotta have a final on the water plant side for the project. And the DNR rep that has been doing our inspection, she said she will not do that until this Slaker is fixed, so.
Good.
And that came from Bartlett, cause they wanted to schedule it, and they called, and she said she will not sign off on it until this
It's
is
not operating system.
resolved, so. That's good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
And there won't be no penalties because we're not done in time.
No,
No.
no,
We're
they're,
actually, the timeframes, we had a meeting with them on the phone, we brought them up to speed.
Well, yeah, we may be in the time frame now, but we may not be by the time we get in the
Well, I
Slaker.
know, but that, they,
they're very lenient.
they were
about it.
they were pretty open about the fact they would work with us, they wanna see us,
Yeah.
us to get what we need, and they appreciated us being transparent and telling them what was going on, because we pretty, told them what was coming, that was before, that's probably 3 months ago now.
Yeah.
Aaron, anything else? Now that we've got into all the garbage?
No, no, no,
What'd you find out,
no.
what'd you find out on that easement,
Easement on,
north of town, by roads?
not got a answer back. Actually Blake texted me at 5 o'clock today and said I'll have to get with Gary, and so we obtained a 20-foot off of, so just so everybody's up to date on the wastewater project, neighboring farmers shut down the irrigation guys Friday. Because where they were placing the equipment, he thought was on his property. So we reached out to Bartlett on Friday, and they thought we were good. They were checking into it. I had, the farmer on our project call me. He's wanting answers to know what, he doesn't wanna make neighbor mad.
Right.
Rightfully so, that's not what we wanna do. So, I've reached out to Gary today and Blake today, still do not have a confirmed answer. I told them that if they have to come down and put a stake in the ground, so we know, that's what we had to do. So that way we can go out there and explain it, here's the easement, this is what we obtained.
We did get an easement, didn't we?
Yeah, I sure hope so.
I hope so too.
So, still waiting. Still waiting on that.
So Matt, you got anything you wanna point out in your
I think we're
report?
good. I talked about it all. I don't think I had some project update stuff. So in that, on that project update, there is a couple numbers for you there on that wastewater project of what we paid out, for some of those products, which are one of them. Aaron and I met with Schmidt last week.
Yeah.
And got the pivot on the Douglas farm operating to a certain extent, so if we do get in a situation, we can relieve water there. The pumps are not in that control that pivot, but we can use our existing pumps to get water there and applicate it if we have to get rid of water. So that's a good feeling to know that that thing is there in case we do get in a pinch. I think that's all I got.
Any ayes, may arise?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor? Any opposed?
Nobody fighting you on that one.
Anybody need a break?